Ultra League is back, and today's video we're gonna check out together the top 5 teams that you can use in the open meta. Hello trainers! Ganeto here, and let's start off with a team around Regirock as a lead. This Pokemon is pretty good, pretty spammy for a lock owner, and you're gonna see that with Focus Blast you are gonna have quite the coverage you need for any lead scenario out there. You will struggle against the ground types, but you can still hit them hard with that Focus Blast, especially that Stunfisk, which is gonna be a core breaker by the way for this team, since it can beat down that Regirock up in the lead, almost farm down with a Rock Slide and some more moves your Charizard, and of course have a good matchup against the Giratina, especially if the Giratina has a Dragon Breath like mine. So we're gonna get there in a while. Let's talk a little bit about this Regirock. Because this kind of Regi doesn't need Zap Count to succeed. You can go with Stone Edge and Focus Blast for more coverage, and I really recommend this Pokemon outside of this team as well, because if you're wondering what a good lead Pokemon might be for the Open Ultra League, well, Regirock has the answer. Charizard, I prefer it with Dragon Breath because I can have safer matchup against the water types, especially that Swampert, and I can be much more decisive against those Dragon types as well, because Dragon Breath is just gonna do a lot of damage to the opponent. If you have a Shadow Charizard, I say just go for it, because you might get destroyed down by certain moves, but overall you're gonna deal a lot of damage with Dragon Breath. Do not use Fire Spin. If you want another move, just go with Wing Attack. I know that both Dragon Breath and Wing Attack are legacy at the moment, but those two fast attacks are really worth it if you are thinking about making a Charizard for the Ultra League. Of course, we're having the safe switch, which is gonna be Giratina. I prefer it with Dragon Breath because I can just destroy down the dark types as well, but I get a little bit overwhelmed by the Charmers, and with Shadow Claw you have a close matchup if you're against a Charmer, so that's something that you should take note of. But overall I think that with Dragon Breath you can still have most of the matchups towards your side, so why not use a Dragon Breath and Giratina over a Shadow Claw? It's up to you in the end. I don't have a recommendation on that matter, but I prefer the Dragon Breather because of the fact that it can go pretty well against those dark types, and the Core Breaker is Stunfisk because it goes pretty well on the front line, pretty well on the back line. So that's all for the first team. Now let's focus into the next one. Obstagoon lead is something that will not surprise the opponent, but at the same time will get a lot of positive leads. You're gonna have a very good lead scenario against Wall Range, against Steel types, against other dark types, especially that Umbreon matchup, against Ghost types, and I think that overall this Pokemon loses straight and square only to Charmers and Fighters, so everything else, even the neutral matchups, can be dealt with your Obstagoon, the weird goony Pokemon. This one has access also to Night Slash. I do not recommend going for the Gangster, to be honest. Just go Cross Chop because you're gonna need it a lot, especially against that Registeel matchup, and you're gonna be in a very good way overall. So with Night Slash you can even vamp up your fast attacks, which is pretty lucky based, but with going back to back with a lot of times, and this Pokemon is pretty bulky on Ultra League, you have some good chances to go for that boost. So the closer of this team is gonna be Talonflame, and I really like this Pokemon because of the fact that it can vamp up and bait shields with the Flame Charge, and then finish off with a Brave Bird, and your opponent will be left with their jaws open, so they will be like, oh my goodness, was that a Brave Bird vamped up 3 times? What was that? And yeah, Talonflame will just be the closer you need. The safe switch is gonna be the Articuno, because Articuno has a wide coverage, and of course even against something like a Stunfisk for example, you can still go with back-to-back Icy Winds and dealing so much work against that Galarian Stunfisk matchup that they are forced to throw some moves, and then your backline can just come in, farm down, and then nuke down whatever the opponent has. The Core Breaker is gonna be Deoxys, and I don't think that everyone is having a Deoxys. I know that for sure, and not many of my friends do. So having that Core Breaker out of the way, I think that this team can absolutely wreck a lot of other teams and a lot of others' dreams. For this one, I can easily see you skipping it because we're having Armor Mewtwo up in the lead. A lot of people do not like Armor Mewtwo because it lacks coverage, it's pretty slow, it might be bulky, but it takes some time to charge up the moves, especially with Confusion. It hits hard, but not that hard for Ultra League because everything is much more bulkier and Armor Mewtwo seems like a slow Pokemon overall. However, this line of 3 may be weak to that charm, but still you can go pretty well against anything else because with Confusion and Dynamic Punch, this Armor Mewtwo can even win that obstacle matchup if you can play it right. If you can pass through that Confusion and no lag secure, you can still win with baits and the final Dynamic Punch from your Mewtwo to that obstacle, so that's really cool for you. With that matchup on your mind, I really like Armor Mewtwo, okay? You can go pretty hard on the opponent, especially with a Dragonite, especially with that Umbreon against those Ghost types, for example, and Dragonite will provide the coverage against the starters that you need. This line of 3 in particular is gonna be super strong. I really recommend to you. You know how good Umbreon is on Great League, but just imagine how good that Pokemon can be on Ultra League. I have the wrong moveset, I know. I have Dark Pulse and Psychic. You need Foul Play and Last Resort. Use Last Resort, don't go with Psychic at all, you do not need that move. Last Resort is gonna be needed because a lot of dark types exist in the meta and you are not gonna need that Psychic for the fighters because a lot of the fighters resist the Psychic, especially the Scrafty and that Obstagoon, so you are gonna be in a tough position, but with Last Resort and your bulk, things can change. So that's all for this line, and now let's move forward into the team that you want to see, the Team 4. Swampert lead, and at the back we have a Cavalier with our Abomasnow. This line of 3 trainers is gonna be super strong to use. We have Swampert up in the lead, which is pretty spammy. I really recommend to you to use that Earthquake over Sludge Wave because with Earthquake you can still nuke down the already heavy Pokemon like Galena Stunfisk and Registeel, and you're gonna be a little bit troubled when using the Sludge Wave version. You might have easier matchups against the Charmers, but still you can thread them down, especially you have a Shadow Swampert with a double Hydro Cannon already. So at the back we have the Escavalier, which works pretty nicely against Obstagoon, pretty nicely against any Dark in general, provides a lot of coverage against the grass types that, as you have seen in PvP, have risen a lot, especially that Meganium and Venusaur, and you're gonna be in a very good position against that Trevenant if you can land the Mega Horn. And Trevenant is gonna be, by the way, the core breaker of the team because it can beat down easily enough the lead Pokemon, which is gonna be the Swampert, nuke down that Escavalier with a pure Shadow Ball, but you also have a nuke to answer back, and of course against Abomasnow they can nuke you down with that Shadow Ball, but still the Ice typing really hurts with back-to-back Weather Balls, and Abomasnow is gonna be much more spammier than this Trevenant. So Abomasnow, a spammy option with having access to that Energy Ball for the water types and a really good Pokemon overall. With ice types, not only you are gonna threat the grass types, which are not gonna be meant, to be honest, Venusaur, Meganiums and the Trevenant, but at the same time you are gonna threat key dragon types like the Giratina. For the final one, trainers, I have kept to showcase to you one of my favorites non-legendary teams. So here is the Walrein line with Sylveon at the back and of course Trevenant. I know, we have a Sylveon which is a Charmer, you hate it, I know it, but Sylveon is one of the few Charmers that I enjoy using in Open Ultra League. This Pokemon is pretty cool, I love its design, and overall it's not the best Charmer out there, so you can be considered like a spicy Charmer or something like that, but this Pokemon has access to Psyshock and I really prefer it over Togekiss, for example, because of the fact that Psyshock does more damage than those Aerial Aces or Ancient Powers, and at the same time you provide more coverage to yourself against the poison moves, against the poison type Pokemons like a Nidoking, for example. So Walrein up in front, a pretty spammy option with Earthquake, it can even nuke down those steel types, nothing else to be said. Icicle Spear is pretty spammy, yeah, stuff like that, you know, from Great League. Trevenant, like Walrein, you already know how this Pokemon is played, just go for Shadow Ball to nuke down whatever, and Seed Bomb for the dark types or the water types, so you're gonna be in a very good way overall, especially when shields are down. The core breaker is gonna be Talonflame because it can beat it down easily. The backline, and at the same time go pretty well with a Brave Bird, of course, against that Walrein, according to PvPoke at least, but it's all about bait or not. So that's all, trainers. Thank you for watching, thank you for staying till the end. I hope you had a wonderful time watching the video. I tried to make it as fun as I could. I decided to not include a lot of Excel Pokemon, not because I do not have them, because that's the main reason, but at the same time because Excel Pokemon are not that fun. Those Mandibuzzes, those Ninetales and stuff like that are not being enjoyed by the PvP community of Pokemon Go. So with that said, thank you for watching. Be sure to leave a huge like before you go, subscribe to the channel because it really helps, and I hope to see you all into the next one. Take care, everyone.